can turn the world on with a smile. You can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile. Well, it's your girl and you should know it. With each words and every little movement you show it. Love is all around, don't need to fake it. You can never down, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today is Wednesday, May 2nd. Normally I do my show on Thursdays, but tomorrow I'm taking off to Toronto. More on that in a moment. But today is 797 days left for Mark to serve in his U.S. prison sentence. You can see the countdown clock and a lot more at freemark.ca. It's been one of our busiest news weeks ever for me and Mark combined. But first, I'm going to show you some photos of me and him and his latest prison concert poster. He performed it for an Easter concert, and his band Yazoo played on Saturday. And you can read Mark's blog about that performance, including his song listing at freemark.ca and cannabisculture.com. That's his second most recent blog. The most recent is posted just the other day, and it has more about what I'm going to tell you with the news. But first, the photos. We got 4 photos taken on April 8th and 9th, 4 in total. So it's the same as usual, the beach background, which hopefully will be on a real one pretty soon, but I'm wearing a bright blue dress and he and I had a great time. And as you can see, he's still looking pretty healthy. And I have one photo of me in my purple dress because we let one of Mark's friends get some photos with his families instead. So, but 4 photos for us, that's great to add to our collection. We get to take pictures every weekend now, so you guys will see a lot more of me and Mark in my shows. Now for the news, I let you all know that John Ferry of the province was going down to visit Mark in Mississippi, and there's quite a lot of news that came from that. So first, last week on Friday, there was a headline on the province newspaper, Prince of Pot, Pest or Profit? Columnist John Ferry visits Mark Emery in a Mississippi prison, and a related story, BC mayors call for marijuana to be regulated and taxed. So this was a one-page preview of the story, and John Ferry is a columnist who used to be very much against drugs, and after the last few years, he's written about me, he's written about Mark, I've had lots of conversations with him, and he's come around to say he doesn't agree with drug use, but prohibition is a failure, and for us, that's a win, because we always want more allies on our side. So this first article, you can see it in Mark's blog at cannabisculture.com and freemark.ca, but this is the first one-page spread on Mark, and it's a really good look at the visit that John Ferry had with him. And then the next day, in the Vancouver Sun, there was a column by Ian Mulgrew, a Vancouver Sun columnist who wrote the book Bud Inc., and he wrote an article about me after seeing me at the John McKay press conference, who is Mark's former prosecutor in favor of legalization. So he wrote a column about how I'm doing with Mark gone and all the activism that's been continuing. So you can see that story as well in Mark's blog. There's a file for it, so you can click it. So the next day, Sunday, third day in a row of the news, Mark and I were on the front cover of the province. This is an impressive feature spread. The big title says, Prince of Pot says war on drugs is over. Now, Mark didn't exactly say that, but he did say that the momentum is so strong, so many people coming out against prohibition, that we're pretty much on our way there. We just have to keep the pressure on. But this was a great feature that was 2 pages inside, 3 full articles. The first one was Mark Emery claims victory in the drug war, and there's a picture of him in his prison band, so that's a great big photo of him. And that's a great article. I encourage you to read it. Again, these are all posted in Mark's latest blog. And then we had Emery calls BC's leaders uninspiring, which is kind of true. I would agree with him. And then he had suggestions for a better British Columbia, and those are some great ideas too. Naturally, whenever Mark is in the news, many people like him and a few people don't, and there are people who write letters in response and call him names, but he still got in the news the next day in the Vancouver Sun. On Monday, there was a whole letters page about the drug war being a failure, and Mark got his 9th letter in a row published from prison. 9 letters he's written and 9 have been published. It's a great article. about John McKay and about the legalization initiative that John McKay is backing. And again, you can see that in the blog. It's fantastic. And then to round it up, day 5 in a row of being in the news, the province ran their back chat follow-up with people responding about the Mark Emery feature. And of course, they range from people saying that Mark Emery is a dope on dope to saying that free Mark Emery and free the plant. And another person said that, Nelson Mandela was in prison for 30 years and then he was made president and got the Nobel Peace Prize. So for those who say a prisoner is just a prisoner, history can tell you that that's not always the case. So with all that great news that came from, when John McKay came up, the news has been pretty much nonstop. And I've got to give a shout out to Stop the Violence BC, new organization that's been getting tons and tons of people on board in the mainstream. So I'm pledging a donation to them from our company every month, and I encourage you guys to support them too. It's just incredible the work that they're doing. And we know that John McKay down in Washington State is backing a legalization initiative, and you can read about Mark's opinion on that in his blog. Now again, Mark is controversial and sometimes he uses words that may not be as welcoming or friendly as some might hope, but he's saying how he feels, and we're all entitled to do that. And Mark and I do support Initiative 502 to legalize marijuana for adults to buy up to an ounce at a time from a retail store authorized by the state. There's maybe a few little things about the bill that aren't ideal, but I say never give up on the good and maintain the bad just to wait for the best. We know that right now things are bad, and if something better is being offered, we better take the better instead of waiting for the perfect and continuing the bad. So that's how I feel about all legalization initiatives. I would take a shorter beating rather than a longer beating if the option was provided. So Mark and I are happy to support all legalization initiatives, and especially the ones that actually make it to the ballot. So good for everybody out there working hard, and we encourage you to continue doing it. Everyone has a different idea of what legalization looks like, but any step in that direction is a step that I would be happy to take. So now, as I said, Toronto is on my travel list. I'm leaving tomorrow with Jeremiah Vandermeer of Cannabis Culture. And on Friday in Toronto, I'll be speaking at Vapor Central at 9 p.m. Toronto time, which is 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll be broadcasting that live on Pot TV. But before my speaking engagement, Jeremiah will be doing Cannabis Culture News live from Vapor Central, and that will be at 7 p.m. Out there. And you can tune in at pot.tv, and it'll be on cannabisculture.com as well. Then the next day, May 5th, the Global Marijuana March happening all over the world. Toronto's is probably one of the biggest, and so that's why I'm going back out there for it. Mark and I used to go every single year, and I continue to go even with him being absent. And this year, we have cities all over the world, as usual, marching together. So go to cannabisculture.com and check out the story with the big list of all the cities participating. And if you want to know more about Toronto's march particularly, go to globalmarijuanamarch.com and you can find out all the details. I've also been invited to a very prestigious event. I am honored to accept the invitation to speak at Idea City. This is a meeting of the minds that happens in Toronto, hosted by Moses Neimer, who owns a media empire. Mark was invited to speak twice at his events in years past, and I've never gone. It was before my time with him. But Michelle Rainey also loved to attend and spoke there in 2009. So I am very honored to be going and continuing to carry the marijuana message at this great big meeting event, many influential and powerful people. So I'll be doing my best to represent our cause and speak well for everybody and not just for me and Mark. And that will be in June 13th to 15th. I'll be back out in Toronto. And also the Toronto Treating Yourself Expo is happening at the end of May. I'll be out there for that too, but I'll tell you more about that in my later shows. I'm going to hop to the giveaway, as I do every week, another free Mark t-shirt so you can spread the message. I've got 44 entries for this week, and I know there's going to be some people emailing me today missing out on this week's draw, but just enter next week's because, you'll have just as much chance. But you'll get the free Mark t-shirt and 4 free Mark stickers. So I will draw from the 44 entries, and they're all in here, the green bubble bag. I like to switch up the colors, and you can get bubble bags and more at cannabisculture.com/store online or downtown in Vancouver at our wonderful headquarters here. The winner of this week is going to be, and remember, just send an email to Jodie@cannabisculture.com to get your chance to win. The winner is the letter K. I'm going to have to look you up. Entry for drawing, hoping to win those stickers. And send an email to the mailing address. So I'm going to get in touch with you. I'll look you up. Your email address name is just the letter K. So you know who you are, and I will find you too. And I'll add you to the list of, oh gosh, I'm sorry. These are all the other previous winners. I swear I'm going to get to you. I feel like I've hardly been in town at all, but I will get these sent out. That's my mission for today, as well as packing up all of the t-shirts to take out to Toronto. So enter for next week's draw by sending an email to Jodie@cannabisculture.com. Stay tuned to what I'm up to at twitter.com/Jodie Emery, and of course my Facebook accounts. That's where I post a lot of my stuff. That's actually where I post most everything. I kind of forget a lot of people aren't on there, and I know Facebook is not very private, and some people don't like that, but I'm on there because there's a huge audience and I can keep everyone updated. So I encourage you to check out facebook.com/Jodie Emery and facebook.com/Mark Emery. And of course, in the information bar below this video, you'll find all the links to all of our pages. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an exciting time. I'm so proud to have the opportunity to speak to this message and to get so many more allies on board. I really feel that we're making it somewhere. Even again, like I've said before, if we don't see legalization in our lifetime, all this work we're doing right now is leading towards something better in the future, whether we're here or not. So keep laying those bricks in the path to victory, and I'll keep doing the same. And I appreciate you all tuning in. Be sure to subscribe and watch our live shows and everything else at cannabisculture.com. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.